I feel like a monkey trying to open a coconut. This is quite embarrassing, really. Hi, and welcome back to Acorn Knits. My name's Natalia, and I'm coming to you from Sydney, Australia. This is just my little corner of the internet where I like to talk about what I'm knitting on, what my plans are for, what I want to knit, and just random things I think sprinkle along, maybe a bit of yarn acquisition and so on. As I mentioned, I'm really not one for long introductions, so I'm just going to get into what I've been knitting on. In the last few episodes, I've been chatting about the pattern I've been working on for my boyfriend's father, which is the Ranger by Jared Flood. I've made a little bit of progress on it since last week, nothing crazy, nothing to write home about, but I'll show you where I'm up to. So the sleeves are fully joined into the round, and I've just been working more on that. So that's really all the progress I've made, is just this amount here. And it's just a matter of just starting to shape the yoke and work up towards the collar. I think I mentioned in my last video something like, I might be done with the collar. That was a really, really ambitious. I knew that wasn't gonna happen. And the reason why this one has kind of fallen to the wayside a little bit is because I've been working on the Setesdal sweater. So the yarn arrived for it last week, and so I've cast that one on. So the Setesdal sweater is a pattern I'm making for my father. It's a secret, so he doesn't know about it. It's gonna be a gift for his birthday. The more I've been knitting it, the more I realize I don't think he'll actually wear it. I think it's a little bit too fancy for him, but it's super cute. I'm gonna keep going. I think he'll definitely really like it. I just don't think it's gonna be a daily kind of wear. But where I'm up to is I've cast on the ribbing, which I've finished, and that's a 2x2 rib, 6 centimeters worth. And now I'm just starting on the lice or the flea pattern, which I think is Lopi, something like that. I don't know, don't hold me to that. But yeah, it's really enjoyable. Fingering weight yarn, it is gonna take a really long time. In comparison to the Ranger, which is worsted weight on 5mm needles, this is fingering weight on, well, 2.5mm for the rib, and then 3mm for the body. And I guess you could see in that shot there, my floats. So looking like nothing amazing. But that's where I'm at with this one. It's gonna be a slog. I think, to be honest, to get it done in time for May, if I wanna knit other things at the same time, the pressure's gonna be on. But I think I'll be able to get it done in time. There are definitely some other things I wanna be casting on. A friend of mine is getting married sometime this year. They haven't set a date for it, but I really wanted to knit her a wedding shawl, like a lace wedding shawl. And so to try and fit that in with 2 sweaters, things I want to knit for myself, it's gonna be full on. If I had more sets of hands, more sets of arms, oh my God, life would be so good. Because there's just not enough time in the day to knit everything that I want to do. And even if I didn't have a job and all I did was knit, there still wouldn't be enough time in the day to knit everything that I want to do. So these are pretty much the main projects that I've been working on. Give me a little close up. So as for the yarn, those are the colors that I went with. And they are really soft. For some reason I had in my mind that the Norwegian yarn was going to be really toothy and just kind of scratchy, but this is a lot smoother than I thought. It's a 2-ply fingering weight, as I mentioned, and really quite smooth. Whereas with the Ranger, I use a Snældan yarn, and that's really rustic. I mean, I think it's still quite soft, especially after you block it. Closer. It's a really toothy yarn, so much so that when I was casting on, the scales were kind of sticking to themselves. So when I was casting on, it was really gripping, almost like Velcro. Whereas with the Finull Garn, that was totally different. It was really smooth, really easy to cast on. So it's interesting working with different yarns, especially when you're doing it at the same time, really to compare and contrast. And so the other project I've really been working on is just, like I mentioned, I'm always kind of chipping away at some socks. So this one here is it's by Arne and Carlos, it's for Regia, and I think I can't remember the exact name of this colorway, I'll link it below. But it's knitting up quite nicely. I was for some reason expecting it to have more of a pattern in regards to not just being sort of striped like this, I thought within the stripes it would have almost shapes being formed. I don't know why I thought that. Perhaps the image on the label kind of makes it look like that, because I think this one may be named after the fjords, and so I thought that it may kind of look like, especially in the blue, kind of like mountains in the ocean. So that's pretty much everything I've been knitting on this week. So no super crazy progress. It's nice to get the Setesdal sweater cast on and kind of get the ball rolling on that. But I've got something super exciting to share, because in a previous video I mentioned about really wanting the Lykke ball winder and Swift, but they've been sold out all throughout Australia. None of the stores had stock. Everyone said that they had it on back order, but they had no idea when the estimated time would be that they'd arrive. One shop even said they had it on back order since, I think it was something like December 2020, maybe even later, November, something like that, something for a really, really long time. So I placed a back order and just sort of thought, well, they'll arrive when they arrive. I could buy something in the meantime, but I don't see the point in having two sets when I really want this one in particular. So I'll just wait and, you know, hope it arrives sometime. But it's funny because I ordered the Finull Garn yarn, like I said, probably about a month prior. I mentioned it on the podcast, and then a few days later it shows up. So I also mentioned the Lykke ball winder and Swift on the podcast, and what happens a week later, I get an email saying they're back in stock, do you want to order it? And I shot onto the website and just placed that order immediately. There was no way that I was gonna miss out, because I just imagine they're gonna sell like hotcakes. If I'm waiting for it, I'm sure I'm not the only person in Australia waiting for this ball winder and Swift. So, oh! So there's the ball winder that I've got there. And the matching Swift. So I thought I'd open them on here. I haven't opened them at all. As you can see, they're still all sealed up. So let's get started. All right, I'll start with the ball winder. Oh, yeah, I'll start with the ball winder. Oh, comes in a little bag. That's really sweet. I love that. Okay, so I've just got a few parts kind of all wrapped up in some paper parcels. And that's sort of the star of the show. So I'll open the Swift and then I'll put this one together and see what it looks like. For a second, I was so worried that it was broken. I saw this and was like, oh, no, it got damaged. But it's just a covering. So, again, in a beautiful canvas carry bag for it. I feel like brands that go out of their way to package things beautifully and include, you know, dust bags or carry bags, things like that, I think it's such a good sign of quality, because if you care about your product enough to do that and go that extra mile, then you know that you've done that with the quality control for an item. So, here we go. All right, don't open indoors. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. The quality's so lovely. It's got the Lykke brand. Oops, nope, that way. Had it the right way the first time. It's really stunning. It's so beautiful. I'm so happy with this. So by the way, there's no instructions in here, so I'm just winging it. Obviously the Swift is quite straightforward. The ball winder. Ooh. Got these. I feel like a monkey trying to open a coconut. This is quite embarrassing, really. So when my friends did unpack the ball winder and Swift, it turns out there was instructions on how to put it together. I just completely missed them. They were folded up and they're actually quite thorough, and they even link to a video of how to put it together. You know what? I might just look up some instructions on their website. I feel like I'm going in blind here. Okay. So this can move up and down. So you want to move this up. Get that sucker on and push it down. So it's not going to go down all the way. Very exciting. I still can't believe this arrived. I am convinced this podcast is magical and manifests things. Seriously, I could not be happier that this has arrived. It's gonna make my life so much easier. So much easier. So with that said, thanks so much for joining me again, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Because on that note, I think I fixed all my IT issues in regards to editing videos, so I think my plan of doing one a week should be able to go forward without a hiccup. Of course, like, touch wood that nothing else comes up unexpectedly, but I think it's looking good. So thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.